Good evening, everyone. As we have been focusing on the discourse on the mindfulness of breathing, Anapanasati, related to the paying attention to the breath, and we have gone through almost all the steps up to the 16 steps, or also known as 32 steps. But overall, when we look at it, it begins with the one single breath. Ability to be with the breath, understanding this breath and how this breath works, and how this breath relates to the formations of our understanding, formations of our body, formations of our mind, and formations of further creations. So when we look at in that way, it appears that each time when we become unmindful, then straight away we lose the sight and we began to create something. And that creating something, also known as a sankhara, or volitional action. With the practice of breathing meditation, as we develop our concentration and wisdom, we slowly begin to see that how things form and how things we create. And oftentimes our engagement to it mostly related to either in ignorance, due to the ignorance, or another due to the greed. And we create. And so that's why that becomes the sankhara, or the conditioning to create things. So we condition ourselves to create, and in a way it becomes something that we created by ourselves. Now whereas when we practice, gradually we see these things, how it forms and how it creates, and it comes to the stage that we able to not to put too much stress or pressure on the breath, and also not putting any pressure on our concentration level and our intention, but also able to be mindful as it is taking place, and let it be and become a fully observer. And it comes to the stage and that there will be seeing as just the seeing, hearing as just the hearing, rather than seeing and hearing is there. Like there is a discourse comes in the Majjhima Nikaya, if I remember correctly, it's about 143 or 44. It comes that the disciples of Niganthanatha Putta, or a Jain, comes to debate with the Buddha, and when they were debating, the first question asked the Buddha that about seeing and hearing. Then rather than answering, the Buddha questioned back that how do you practice seeing and hearing in terms of creating the karma, and that karma is created by speech and physical and mental. So then the answer was avoid seeing and avoid hearing. And in that case, the Buddha further explained that in that case, those who are blind and those who are deaf could have attained the liberation quickly, quicker than someone who has eyes and ears. But then Buddha further explained that in the practice, in the teachings of the Buddha is not like that, but ability to keep the mind in the balance, not swayed or not further creation or creating or conditioning on those seeing and hearing by proliferating from our what we want or what we don't want, or pleasant or unpleasant sensations. So when there is a pleasant sensation, then again mind is completely in a balance, equanimous, called upeksha or upekha. And then also unpleasant sensation arises, and that time also ability to recognize that and ability to let it be. So whatever we see, whatever we hear, and whatever we taste, smell and touch, and even the mental factors arises, mind contact and thinking comes. In those cases, ability to see the conditioning things and manage to keep the mind in balance. And that's way how mind will be untainted and then it will also not continue creating further so-called evolutional creation. The simile is given like the suppose you have heated a pan up to the level that it's so hot. Then when that pan becomes so hot, if you put a drop of water, it simply disappears due to the hot. A similar way, when our mind is, when our awareness is developed in a certain state in that way, then whatever comes, it just falls but doesn't create. It just disappears. It just become able to recognize it, and then ability to discern, and straight away that falls away and it won't continue. And so that's how mind will be discontinued and gain the complete purity of the mind and gain happiness. So this is what we are aiming for in the practice of meditation. And that all begins from just one single breath. Ability to be with the breath, and then again not just this breath that always coming and going out, and rather than chasing to this breath, but we just simply this breath, an ability to maintain each breath comes in, each breath goes out, and mindful of that each breath coming in and each breath going out. And each breath that comes and goes out, that actually neutralizes the mind. So mind gains the focus attention, and gradually mind develops into a higher state, become so subtle and malleable, and with that stage we are able to again discern further investigation on it. And that's how we maintain the entire 16 stages of the practice of a meditation on the breathing, mindfulness of the breathing. So that's why it's very important to adapt one object, this breath, and try to maintain in any particular place that we've been talking about, particularly on the on the first tretra, but the fourth section or fourth principle, we discuss on that quite extensively, how important to maintain the breath in one particular object so that we can gain different levels of the mind, and also ability to channel through an understanding how these feelings arises, and how a mind creates and how phenomena devolves. So with this in mind, encourage you to work with the one object awareness of this breath in a one particular place, and then with that we can see the development of our practice. Okay, so I offer this as a reflection, and now let's practice meditation. So sitting in a comfortable position and bring your attention to the breath. Relax your body, relax your mind, and settle down your breath, your awareness on the breath. So mindfully aware of incoming breath and outgoing breath as it comes in and as it goes out. You have sufficient knowledge that you're paying attention to the breath, and the breath comes in and goes out, and I feel this breath in here in particular place like the nose or the belly. Constantly reminding that I'm paying attention to this area of this body to feel this breath. And when paying attention to this breath, again, not pressurizing yourself, or not developing a stress that I must, but relax and watching objectively as you are sitting at the bank of the river and watching the river flow. Do not interfere with the process, observing it objectively. As you are observing it objectively, the natural flow of the breath coming in and going out, you may notice the different breaths as it comes in and goes out. Remember, you are not searching for it. You're feeling it. When we search for it, then again our desire, so with that we will have certain perceptions of this breath into this or into that. And that's how we will be creating further formations, conditioning the mind to create further formations. But rather observing objectively a natural breath that comes in and goes out. So this requires the sufficient effort to be mindful of that. Not too much effort, so that you are pressurizing yourself to pay attention to the breath and you're regulating the breath to incoming and outgoing, sometimes making it a long or short or satisfied with the engagement with this engagement, making the breath in and out. And also not a less effort, so you drift away into the thoughts or even to the a drowsiness and a lack of mindful of incoming breath and outgoing breath, just lost into the thoughts. So one breath at a time, constantly and consistently reminding that each breath comes in this is this breath, each breath comes out, this is this breath, only this breath. The breath in the past, don't worry. Don't worry that you are able to be mindful in the past, this way or that way, and clearly seeing the incoming breath and outgoing breath, and feeling so rapture and so happy and so joy. Doesn't matter. It's okay. It was in the past. And similarly, not expecting that in the future or upcoming the breath, I should be able to pay attention to those breaths clearly, and so that I can enjoy and rejoice and gain the calmness. What important is that ability to mindfully reminding yourself to be mindful of each breath that is coming, and maintaining the awareness of this as it comes in and as it goes out, satisfied with it. And with that, the longer we become mindful of this breath, the greater the stage of mind becomes. Mind becomes more calmer, more stable, and also that gives a joy and a happiness. And as we experience these different stages of the mind, we are also able to recognize that this mind itself is the formations or conditioned things arises, and able to see that how this conditioned to form, and able to recognize the pure form or the first form of creating each mind, and that's how we able to discern into the natural phenomena as the object of impermanence and suffering and anatta, able to detach from each phenomena that arises. So with this in mind, to continue practicing, beginning from the each breath to until you hear the gong.